I have everyone raise your hand who Alexis is their hero. Not bad. So for the rest of you who don't know who Alexis is, I have a list, but I should have memorized it anyway. He started Reddit as soon as he graduated college at UVA. Currently, he's also the founder of with Steve, true. And he founded Breadpig, which creates geeky things, sells them, and gives them away, gives away all the profit. They've raised about $180,000 before. He's the angel investor and also head marketing dude at Hipmonk. And without further ado, Alexis Ohanian.
I first have to apologize for my attire. In this crazy world we live in, I was actually invited on Bloomberg TV to talk about Anonymous this afternoon. So after, I've been on a few times now, my grandfather who religiously watches Bloomberg TV, after he told me that the first 4 times I looked like a bum, because I was wearing a t-shirt and today I told him, all right, I'll try to look like a bum from here on out. He gave me the seal of approval, so grandpa and so be it. But anyway, so excuse the attire. One of the things I was going to say that's awesome about this artist is you don't actually have to dress up or anything. I'm sure you all know that. I should give you a little bit of background. Thank you again for the introduction. I did co-found a site called Reddit. Actually, ever since I left, that's when these numbers started popping up. So I'll do that to you guys, whether or not that was directly related to my leaving. Breadpig is indeed Newman's Own for Nerds, trying to make the world suck less, doing a bunch of interesting things, selling stuff like awesome sauce and books and whatnot, giving away the profits. And then most recently, I'm working on a travel search website called Hitbox. But this isn't about me, it's about startups and the environment we live in. I want you guys to know that you are the luckiest SOBs on the face of the earth. All right, because right now you're living in the optimal moment throughout human civilization. I know every moment has its optimal moment, and 5 minutes from now will actually probably be the most interesting we've ever gotten, but stick with me, okay? At this very moment, y'all have it really good, okay? And I've been really fortunate. I started startups, as was mentioned, right after college in 2005. But even before that, I was kind of handed a life lottery ticket. This is an artistic representation of me holding the life lottery ticket. Why do I say it? Well, I grew up middle class, white, male, born in the US, in the suburbs with a happy childhood. And I'm in fact tall, which according to CNN correlates with salary, which is kind of insane. But pretty much easy mode. If there are any gamers out there, you'll as far as life lottery tickets go, it's kind of like cheat codes. And I'm aware of it. But I want you guys to know that just by being in this room right now, and being here at this age of the internets, you're living a fabulous time right now. And you've got all the youthful vigor and all the ability to change the world. Do a lot of really great stuff. Because you could look like one of these two guys. This was just after we started Reddit. That's Steve on the left there. He's dressed up for Halloween, of course, as Paul Graham. We met him in college, playing video games. When I met him, he was playing Gran Turismo, and I got really excited because I knew that college was just about playing beer pong, like people actually play video games there. You can tell I didn't have any older siblings. I really had no idea what college was like. And so we did all the typical college things, and then I was a history major, so I realized looking forward to that it was going to be a little tough. That sign says we'll study for food, by the way. And a man named Paul Graham actually really changed our lives because he introduced us to the startup world. Very first round of Y Combinator, and I'm here today because of that opportunity. Well, like I said, you guys have it even better than we did. And I want you to know the startup world is not a zero-sum game. It's funny, if you Google image search for zero-sum game, this is one of the top images that came up. I like it because it's not. You're not actually in direct competition with one another. We all really benefit from this startup ecosystem. Now, some of you may actually, in fact, be in competition with one another, but don't take it too personally. Because you have to understand that one another, rather, are not enemies. And it is not the zero-sum game. It's not like every point you score is a point taken away from someone else. There is not some finite amount of success in this world. And when someone else, one of your peers, is successful, it doesn't mean your odds of being successful have diminished at all. That's something I hope you all keep on doing. Go on doing your internships or start startups, whatever it is you're doing. So Y Combinator worked really well for us. I mean, the ethos of it is to make something people want. I think that applies to things much bigger than just YC. And this is good news for lots of you. And for those of you who read this in Farnsworth Voice, congratulations. Because this is unfortunately not a world of people like this. And what do I mean by this? Well, let me take this a step forward. Remember the famous words of really one of our brilliant minds in this last century, Admiral Akbar. Whenever you hear a pitch from a business type, and that is, it's a trap. And what I mean by that, I know there's some MBAs here, so sorry. Hopefully you're the technical variants. Okay, good. Excellent. You guys are in a great position. And as soon as people in your MBA class know that you can code, you must get bombarded with all kinds of, I had this great idea last night. It's a social networking site for parakeets. Not a pitch I've heard yet, but I'd be open to it. They're smart birds. So probably thinking of parrots. Okay, so this makes the Donald Trumps, or the business people of the world, very sad. Because this is actually, no, you have an experience for free. This is the first time in human innovation, I'm not overstating this, when we've actually had the ability to create something and get it in front of the world. Now just think, you had a great idea centuries ago, an internal combustion engine, or even for the personal computer, you still needed capital to put together the computers. You still needed people to work in the factory. You still had all kinds of barriers to entry that were usually dominated by either people with wealth or access, which is far too often people who end up looking like this guy in our tools. So, what this means for this century is that this list, now admittedly, the number one person on this list is himself a builder, and Ellison's got his credit, and Buffett, he's a hustler himself. But if you look down this fortune list, you see a lot of MBAs, a lot of business types who aren't themselves actual builders. This century will have a lot more people that look like Mark Zuckerberg, and I mean that in the best sense of it. Like, there will be many more people on this list creating tons of wealth, and most importantly, tons of value, who actually built the damn things themselves. And that also means that there's access for all kinds of new people to show up on this list and to have the influence and the power, and less of these. And what that means is they'll be in a worse place, a sadder place. But of course, that's okay for the rest of us because we're too busy building things. And I do hope you find, if you do go out to start a startup, you find that perfect relationship. It's often equated to a marriage, and I think it's actually quite true. It's actually a lot like a marriage, except there is no sex. Although, really, according to a lot of married people I know, there really isn't much sex there anyway. So it's actually just like marriage. And if you find a good co-founder, you can have a wonderful, fabulous business relationship. And if you're just joining a startup, you could still find yourself in a fabulous work environment. I sat down, it was probably a bad choice for great work environment. Trust me, these are all metaphors here representing happy team members. Because there will be ups in startup life just as much as there will be downs. Always gets people. I know what's wrong with that cat. There will be ups and downs in startup life, but it's that team, it's that passion of building something that actually is adding value to the world, get you out of bed in the morning, and actually excited about the work you're going to do. I consider myself extremely fortunate, given that every day since I left college, I have looked forward to my work. I know neither of my parents had that luxury, and neither of my grandparents had that luxury, and plenty of my peers don't have that luxury. But you guys do, because that's what the startup world promises. And I hope you guys all go out there trying to make the world suck a little less. And that's what a great startup can do for the world. In fact, you can do it all in a t-shirt and jeans, contrary to current attire. And that's one more great incentive to doing this. But you guys are already sold on this. And like I said, our enemies are not in this room. Our enemies are down at Wall Street. Because all of the best programming talent is in a competition we are all in a competition for the best programming talent. And it's really just a question of whether or not you want to add value to the world. And if you don't, you should GTFO from this guy's office and go start a startup. Because if you do want to add value, if you really want to create something, then it's the startup level. And whether it's joining one or whether it's starting one, I hope that's where you all end up. And it turns out this is also really good timing because the mainstream media has apparently decided that startups are now sexy and interesting. That's from a paper magazine photo shoot. And it's kind of insane that the tech world is now as almost cool and hip as there's plenty of other industries, which I guess doesn't hurt if you're on ODQ describing what you do for a living. But yeah, so that's it. I really just wanted to come out here and say congratulations to you all because this is potentially the best decision you've ever made. And you really are living right now with a giant life lottery ticket in your hands. So please make the most out of it. Make the world suck a little less and have fun while you're doing it. Thank you.